Hey, this is Seller1, and I just wanted to make a quick video on Super Macho Man here from Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. So, right here, I got it's basically a standard Super Macho Man. So basically, we're going to gather 2 stars, use them, and then we do a delayed jab there for a star, and then we do a Dizzy Destroyer before we do a max damage uppercut. Now, this was an adjustment that Weejawi found, and it actually opens up a couple of different situations, but basically the advantage here is there's another star. It only happens 50% of the time or so to get that random star, but if you get it, then consistently you're going to get a time within 57 seconds to a minute. And that's a pretty great time on Super Macho Man. Now, we're looking at a very specific situation, and that's because every other situation, aside from the one that we're going to look at today, is exactly the same as it was before, except you now have a star. But this situation here, which this is all pre-recorded stuff, by the way. This situation right here is what we're going to focus on, and it's when Macho Man does the fast delay. It's a save state that was loaded. So now we can do a spin sucker. So this is what I opted to do. This gives you an extra star compared to knocking him down with a delayed punch from a stun. And this star is actually pretty useful, because if he gives you the fast delay here, you can beat him in under a minute. Keep in mind my times are a bit slower when I play on emulator, just because of input delay. And Macho Man rounds the clock every second or so when he backs up to spin punch. But yeah, pretty great, right? Except there's one issue, and this is basically the reason I'm making this video. Macho Man's guard is very strange. Whenever you do, I'm going back a little bit, so let's go back to the new section that I did for Phase 2. Right here. So, that gut punch, it changes his guard a little bit. His guard is up for me to punch him in the gut. And he follows that up with a gut shot, and when he does that, that's okay. That's fine. Because what Macho Man tends to do is put his gloves up for the next phase. And to do a max damage uppercut, it's pretty easy. Like, there's nothing weird or complicated about it. Also, by the way, you should be watching this only after you've watched Sinister's Punch-Out tutorial. This is sort of just like an additional situation. So let me go to the next section, which was right after this fight. Okay. So right here, also keep in mind, I haven't shown this off yet, but there's a nifty little controller here. That's the entire reason I'm playing on emulator right now. That's actually pretty useful for figuring out what I'm doing, and it's actually going to come into play in a little bit. So this is the same deal as last time. But hey, he threw an uppercut this time, and that changes things a little bit. Just for like a quick little recap, typically when Macho Man throws an uppercut or a hook, which is it's that low looking punch, that's a hook, and the uppercut's the one where he kind of like ducks down, does the big old punch on you. But that usually determines where his guard is for the rest of the single segment strategies. And that also determines how you do max damage uppercuts. So you can do them in two ways. You can hold up and start, let go when you see his gloves move. That happens usually when you have to do an uppercut. Or, I mean, excuse me, when he does an uppercut. But when he does a hook, you just hold start and then you tap up real quick. Like, check it out right here. You see my start button? It's kind of held right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for his gloves to drop down and then tap up. And the reason why, like, I'm not doing the up and start part here, which I would normally do if you threw an uppercut, is because of the way he's knocked down. There's sort of like a weird little time window for when he changes his guard. I actually had to ask McHazard about this, and he basically helped me out with it. But anyway, I'm gonna do it here. But hey, he dodged. So that's no good. Now, here's the thing. Most of the time, when he throws an uppercut, his guard is going to be up anyways. That's just kind of how it is. And very, very rarely, depending on how you time your attacks and how much time has elapsed between the gutter and him getting knocked down, his guard might actually drop. However, you can actually manipulate it a little bit. So this is kind of the same exact situation that we're going through again, except there's going to be one thing that's different. So we got the spin sucker, face punch, gut punch, and face punch again. Now there was something a little bit different. I'll go over it again, but did you catch it? It happened on the controller. But check this out. The star lands. And now we can finish the fight in under a minute. Okay. So let's go back a little bit. Alright, it's right here. I'm gonna go frame by frame. So we're doing the face punches. Gotta do two of them. Another face punch, a gutter. So raising his guard, punching him in the gut. And here's the important part. Right about here. I'm holding up. I'm holding up for this section. And you gotta hold up until you see him move, and then you gotta dodge. That corrects his guard. His guard is gonna be exactly where you want it when that happens. There's not gonna be any like confusion, like where is it gonna be? Is it gonna be up or down? It's gonna be exactly where you want it to, up. So you can do this max damage uppercut and finish the fight. Okay. So, yeah. That is basically, I believe this is how we should approach this situation for single segment. There's another strategy. I'm just gonna show it for completeness. I don't recommend doing it for a single segment attempt unless you want it to end real bad. So this is kind of the same deal. Same kind of situation. I recorded this on console, by the way, because the inputs are very difficult to do. All of these punches have to be very fast. And you notice he actually took that final one. And you can do, you can hold up and start there. There's nothing funny about his guard, and you can actually get him in a 55. But don't do this, dude. Like, for real, don't. I'll go over, part of it. So, all of these inputs are very, very finicky. You basically can't waste frames for the face punches and the gutter. It's almost like reminiscent of the IL strategy, the individual level fight, which is the 48-48 that I got. Like, you can't waste any frames. And the reason for this is because if you're fast enough, you can catch him while he's like, did you see him like kind of jump up? That's because he's about to throw an uppercut. So, two problems with this strategy obviously are it's luck dependent because you need him to throw an uppercut. If he throws a hook, he's going to block. If he throws an uppercut and you're too slow, then you're going to get hit in the face, and that's going to ruin his refill for the next phase. That's basically the biggest danger of doing this strategy. So yeah, don't do this unless you are super confident in your timing and you also don't care about whether your run succeeds or fails. But yeah, that's all I got to say today, so thanks for watching, everyone.